Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo 7, and I am back with our weekly review of the current daily races. As you can see, we've got daily race A at Lego East End. If you remember, we have had this combination before, but the other way around in Group B rally cars. I think I would have preferred it to what we've got here. It's in the Copen, rather slow car. You can see getting away. This car is almost like you're on a Sunday drive. Now, what that does mean though is there's going to be quite a lot of potential to have very close racing, because slower cars like this, you can generally have quite close battling with other cars because most people can drive them and they're not that complicated to get the most out of. So you might have some reasonable battles as we go up the inside here. We get a little bit of battling, we get pushed up onto the curb there, a little bit of crazy action going on. Then we see in the mirror, some guy got bump drafted there. You can see the driver in front of there, GT7 VR, got bumped up, but massive boost of speed. So yeah, bump drafting clearly works on this combo. So into this right hand corner, one bit of advice with this car is it's got quite a low down torque, so get into fourth gear nice and early, and you can see get massive momentum by doing that. So getting them higher gears, and you can see this driver on the left is in third gear. When he shifts to fourth, he loses quite a bit of momentum. So yeah, get into third and fourth gear. Try not to use second really. Third and fourth gear are the only gears you're going to really need to use on this combination. As we go into the final corner, just be careful the rear end not sliding out there as I go a little bit wide, following P6 out off the track. Don't worry, you're not going to get a penalty there. You might get a little bit of dirty tyres, but you're not going to get a penalty. Now, this was my first race on this race. No real warm-up, just jumped into it and seen what's going on with it. And now we're going into lap 3, and you can see we're still in P6. We've got the red car in front of us there, driven by the HG Terry 1987, into this right hand corner, into third gear early again. Make sure you try and brake early for that corner. Just try and concentrate on your exit speed. It will give you momentum. As you can see, I've done that, and now I'm going up to P5. I'm going alongside P5, and now I've got the inside line into this right hand corner, which means I can get into fourth gear as we go over the curb on the right. You can really abuse the curb on that right hand side as well, and that is a position gained up into P5. Now, that was pretty much most of the actual battling that we had in this race. There was a little bit more. As you can see, we skip a little bit further on now, and we're coming up to the end of lap 5, and we've managed to catch up to P4, and P4 is getting closer to the lead group. But you can see we just needed a few more laps. Maybe if this race would have been about 7 or 8 laps, it could have led to some pretty decent battles. But yeah, 6 laps again is a little bit short, but I don't know whether I would really want a longer race in this one, to be honest, because it's not the most exciting car to drive. It's a little bit boring. It's not really the most entertaining. Maybe in VR it could be interesting. We'll try it out for our VR video. Maybe try another combo out as well from this week's daily races for the VR race. Could be interesting to try something different. But going into this right hand corner, you can see getting a good exit there, and we are gaining one more lap, and I think we would have caught up to these drivers in front of us as we've put ourselves obviously up to P4 here. And now into this right hand corner again, getting into that fourth gear as early as we can, as we fast forward the action here up into fourth gear and then into that final corner. Now, I tried to send it here. I just thought, let's just send it and see what happens. Got almost a drift going there, got it down to third gear, yeah, and just lost a bit of momentum on the exit there. So P4 in this daily race A. It's not the most exciting race you're going to come across ever, but like I say, slow cars can sometimes give you quite good races when you're side by side and it's all compacted together. So it's not the greatest, but it's a 6 out of 10, purely because you might be able to have a good race. Otherwise, it probably would have been a lower score than that, because it's not really that exciting to drive. Daily race B, however, we're at Road Atlanta again. I've lost count of how many times we've raced this combination since we've had it added to the game. It's getting a little bit boring, I've got to be honest with you. I know it's an okay combination, don't mind the combination, but I think there's a lot of other tracks that could be used for these daily race Bs. I don't know why we repeat the same combinations over and over again. Just my opinion. Some people might think, you know, it's a good combo, which it is. It's okay. Road Atlanta in Group 4 is a reasonable combination. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but I think there's a lot more variety that could be done with these dailies, and I wish that PD would start exploring some of the other tracks that they never use. I mean, we've got St. Croix that would make a brilliant Group 4 daily race if they use that, but unfortunately they forgot about that track, it seems, as we work our way through these really fast corners, trying to keep the car on the track. And yeah, going up the inside here, I'm going to have a little look up the inside here. I'm not going to go for a move, I'm going to back out. I'm just trying to see if we can kind of force these two to send it into each other, which they actually do. And then there's a bit of contact, and there's almost a crash between them. As you can see, a lot of contact going on there. We're going to go up the inside now. and try and push on. But yeah, like I say, we've got St. Croix. There's so many combos at St. Croix. With Group 4, it's normally quite entertaining because it's wide open track. You can have some pretty good racing. But yeah, we're back at Road Atlanta again as we go past another car that's spun off there. He's outside. I don't know how he's managed to spin there, to be honest. I'm not sure. It must have been some sort of contact gone on there, but it's a free position for myself. And then again, skipping on to the end of lap 2. And we're working our way to the end of the straight, and we're going to overtake another car there that's took a penalty. So he must have had quite a big penalty because he was almost dropped completely still. So maybe a 4-second penalty for a punt for that guy. And now we're going to work our way into turn 1 on lap 3. And you can see another car going to go wide. This corner extremely tricky. Catches so many people out. It's really easy to run wide there. And that's another free position up into P12. So at the moment we're just gaining positions really because people are basically making mistakes, and that's probably the way it's going to be. Again, this was my first race on. We just jumped in, no real practice, just seeing how to, seeing what's going on the race. We know the track, as we see the Lamborghini there going for a shortcut, barriered off, and yeah, you can't go that way, mate. That's a bit of a mistake. I think he actually lost the rear going into the section and just tried to rescue it, but yeah, I don't think he was actually going for a shortcut, but it kind of looked that way because as he saw the barrier, he turned to the left. So unfortunate for the Lamborghini there. That's pretty much wrecked his race, but a free position for myself. Now we're going to skip to lap 4 and another car just spinning out on the straight there. I'm not sure how that even happened, but another free position for myself up into P10, and a lot of cars just dropping left, right and centre here, making mistakes. And that seems to be one of the things with this track. If you can get yourself a consistency, get yourself a rhythm going around here, you'll probably do quite well, because a lot of people tend to make mistakes on Road Atlanta, especially during this section here. This is normally the penalty section, but in Group 4 it's not too bad, especially in the McLaren, because the way the gearing is, it's actually reasonably alright through that section. It's quite nice. This McLaren here is a really nice car to drive. Ferrari will also be a strong car. Citroen might be usable, might struggle a little bit on the straight, but it should be reasonable in the other sectors of the track. Supra will probably be reasonable here as well. And you might find maybe there might be a 4-wheel drive car that might be usable in this combo as well. I'm not too sure. I haven't tried any of them, so maybe some of the 4-wheel drive cars. Aston Martin as well might be usable. I'm not too sure. I haven't tried that one out, but yeah, there might be a good 6 or 7 cars that can actually compete on this combo. Would be interesting to see as we go into the braking zone. We're going to try and go down the left hand side, sending it 3 wide. We've got 1 position, but we're going to have to take a tight line here because we've got a car on the outside. So give them the space there and then just cut back underneath and up into P9. So okay racing so far. It's reasonable. It's reasonably entertaining. It's a 5-lap race. It's not the longest race we're going to get as daily race B. I think last week's was probably longer, but yeah, maybe 6 or 7 laps would have been a bit more enjoyable for this race, just to give a bit more chance to fight back through the field if you make a little mistake somewhere. As we got another car running wide on that corner. So easy to do, very easy to run wide, but it's a free position for myself up into P8. And now we're obviously going through the last lap here, seeing if we can get ourselves up a position as we work our way through this tricky section where, again, you're going to pick up a lot of penalties if you try and push too much on this exit here. But again, McLaren, really nice through there. It doesn't even feel like you're going to run wide, although we're not really pushing the limits at this point. We're just first race on, just taking it quite easy and just trying to keep the car on the track, to be honest, as we work our way into the 2 corners before we get onto this back straight. So trying to get a good exit here, but we get a little hit from behind. Fortunately though, as he hits us wide, he then hits us again and gives us a bit of a bump draft as he tries to overtake me. So kind of helped me out on the straight at least, as we now pick that slipstream back up. Upshift to 6th. You might have seen I'm short shifting this car. That's because the McLaren in Group 4 is a faster car when you short shift it, so that's why I'm not revving this car out. It's actually quicker to short shift around 50-60%, so that's how you need to shift this one. So into the braking zone, we're going to go wide here and brake a little bit early and just try and see if we can do a bit of an undercut on this exit here, because we can see they're going side by side and it works out quite nice for ourselves. Putting myself up into P7, and yeah, not too bad from the back of the grid. Reasonable result, a little bit of fun as we also drift over the line and take that P7. So reasonably entertaining, but overall a 6.5 out of 10 I think is a fair score, because obviously we had this Road Atlanta so many times. I think it loses points because it's overused quite a bit. Next race we have is Daily Race C, and we are at Red Bull Ring in Group 3 with both tyres required, so strategy in this race. And remember, by the way, if you want to let me know what you would rate these races as, Daily Race A, B and C, do let me know in the comment section. Give it a thumbs up this video if you're enjoying it, subscribe to the channel, and let me know obviously in the comment section what you think about this week's races. I'm interested to hear. So we've obviously got this race now as Daily Race C, and we have strategy. That is a good thing. Straight away, that's a bonus. That gives it a little bit of a bump up in the ratings because there's strategy in there. And we're at Red Bull Ring, a track that I really do enjoy. I love it. Group 3, Red Bull Ring, good combo as we get overtaken there for P2 by the Nissan GTR in front of us. So we got a Viper in P1. Antonio, you might know him, very, very quick driver in the EU region. He actually won the official season for the manufacturers as we go for a little bit of a fake up the inside there. However, go a little bit deep and that car's going to go back up the inside of us. So good racing, but that move didn't work. But yeah, Antonio won the manufacturers series in the official season for the qualification, but unfortunately he's not old enough to make it through to the World Tour event. So once he's old enough, I'm pretty sure you're going to be seeing Antonio qualifying and doing very well in the World Series. He's a very quick driver, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see how well he does when the official seasons are going and he's old enough to qualify. So you can see here we're going to go for a pit stop on lap 4 in this race. Strategy wise, this is pretty much optimal. 4-9 split is very optimal, I think, for strategy. You might want to go 5-8 if you want to be a bit more safe, but yeah, 4-9 you can make it. The tyres should last, especially in the Nissan GTR. It's better on tyres. So got a nice bit of clean track here. I'm going to take advantage of that and hopefully get a good outlap in, which you can see we're over the line. Did a reasonable outlap there, and we can see that Antonio pitted 1 lap later, so he's going to have 1 lap fresher tyres. However, the Viper murders tyres. It's really bad for tyre wear. It completely kills the tyres, so his car is going to suffer a lot more on the tyres than my car is going to suffer on tyres. And you can see that P1 hasn't pitted yet. He's in the Nissan GTR and he's going for a longer stint. He's going to do 6 laps on the medium, which this is probably going to give me the undercut over him and give me the jump. So we're going to gain that position, and now we're just in the slipstream of Antonio. You can see there as we're about to finish our first flying lap. Managed to pick up a little bit more of the slip there as Antonio made a few mistakes in that Viper, just getting used to that car. I think he was just switching cars and obviously trying different cars out as we go over with the fastest lap of the race so far. But yeah, Antonio was switching cars, just testing different cars really out in these races. So we're gaining on him because he's probably not fully up to speed in that Viper, and also because the Nissan GTR is a better car than the Viper around this combination. So not going to say we're catching him up because we're faster. It's not why. We are catching him up because we're in a better car, and also he's probably just trying to get used to that Viper in front of us. But we're driving reasonably well. You can see we managed to get the jump over the Nissan GTR that decided to do that extra 2 laps. So he's got 2 lap fresher tyres over myself. But you can see here that driver made a mistake, and by lap 8 we're into the slipstream and we're very close to Antonio. Antonio's got a penalty. We're going to go round the outside of Antonio through this corner now. Side by side through it. Tiny bit of contact, but we managed to save that and take that position and up into P1 in this daily race C. So good racing in this. This race will always give you good racing, I think. Red Bull Ring, Group 3, slipstream and overtaking opportunities are always very likely to give some very, very strong racing together. So into turn 1, we see Antonio go a little bit wide there. He had a massive moment on the rear, nearly lost control, but managed to save it and keeps himself on the track. That's the main thing, and he doesn't get a penalty, which is good for him there. So no penalty, but he is going to get a little bit of dirty tyres out of this corner. So as we come through here, you can see we get on the throttle, and you're going to see the delta increase slightly where I've got the better tyres because he's got the dirty tyres. So a couple of attempts gained for myself there, and a little bit of a gap increased. So skipping to lap 10 now, you can see the tyre wear is still pretty good in this Nissan GTR. You know, we pitted lap 4. You can actually go a little bit earlier in the pits, but I waited to lap 4 just to make sure I've got reasonable tyres on the last few laps. So working our way up this straight, and this is where you can really see the Viper's strength. So watch the delta in the top of the screen. That Viper is incredible on acceleration. I don't know what it's like on top end because obviously we're not really getting to massive top end speeds on Red Bull Ring. This is more of an acceleration track, but yeah, for acceleration, that Viper is really, really good. You can see it again getting really close here. He's 2 tenths behind, and again, look at the acceleration out the corners in a slipstream. I'm not sure if it's as strong when he's not in a slipstream, but in a slipstream, amazing speed as he's going to try and go round the outside of this tight right-hand corner. We're going to give him the space up to 3rd gear, give him the space on the left, and again, watch the acceleration. He's going to be able to get alongside us here and get his nose up that inside, which means I'm going to have to just give him the space on this left-hand corner, going side by side yet again. Brilliant racing here with Antonio, still side by side, and then trying to brake a little bit later than him there, give him the space on the inside, and we just about managed to hold that line and keep the position. And that is probably because the Nissan GTR's strength on that corner. We were able to hold that corner there. Viper a little bit understeery and probably just couldn't really take the speed through there. But again, all over the rear of our car. Brilliant battle this with Antonio. Like I say, racing some of the fastest drivers on the game in races like this, with battles like this, is so exciting. I love doing it. It's really enjoyable. Again, we're going to go defensive now into turn 1. You can see Antonio's going defensive, going for the move. He's going to go to the left-hand side of the track, brake early, and try and get a better exit off this corner, which he's going to do because we've gone a little bit wide, nearly losing the rear. He manages to get a better exit than us in that Viper, and now he's going to be a drag race all the way up into the heavy braking zone. But you can see the acceleration on that Viper, it's just not something we can compete against. So have a little look up the right hand side, try and keep him defensive, and now try and get a better exit off this tight right hand corner, which we get a reasonable exit there. And now we're into the slipstream. Can I now go on the aggression and try and see if we can get a move done on Antonio? So again, looking into the braking zone, have a little look up the inside, a little bit too far back here, but yeah, just keep him aware that we're there within range to go for a move. Good exit off the corner. But again, I don't think we're going to be close enough to go up the inside of this corner as we're approaching the braking zone again. Yeah, not close enough there. We're going to stay behind him and wait for an opportunity. But very close racing going on here in Daily Race C, and it's really enjoyable. And like I say, this track, it's a shame that we overuse some of these tracks because Red Bull Ring is overused. It has to be stated. I love this combination, but again, I think this is probably the 5th or 6th time, at least if you count Daily Race B and Daily Race C, that we've had this combination. I think it's time to start, you know, Fuji Group 3 has still not been used. Plenty of other combinations have never been used. Let's have a bit more variety, PD. If anyone's listening at PD, let's try and get a bit more variety into some of these races. I think there's great combinations that we can use that we haven't used yet. As again, we're going to go for a move, try and push him to the right there, squeeze him to that right side, and then try and get a better exit off this corner. But again, just couldn't get the power down. But we are very, very close here now. I'm extremely close, within 2/10 of him, get into a 10th of him, and now he's definitely going to have to go defensive there into this tight right hand corner. So we're going to go to the left. Can we brake late, and keep it in a straight line, let him go back up the inside and try and cut back and get a good exit off the corner, which I do pretty much spot on there. And now we're going to get the slipstream all the way down this straight and into the next right hand corner and into the braking zone. Can we go for a move, keep it to the right? He's going to defend the right hand side because he doesn't want us getting the inside, but we're going to brake incredibly late round the outside down to first gear. Use that first gear for some rotation, use second gear on the exit for some acceleration, and you can see the Viper lost the rear slightly. That gave us some momentum there to get the car up on the inside. Now we're going side by side again through this left hand corner. Great battling going on, and we've managed to make that move up into P1. What an incredible race we're having here at the Red Bull Ring in Group 3, and now we've just got to try and defend this position all the way for the last lap in this battle. But you can see the advantage of the Nissan GT. Even though we pitted 1 lap earlier, it actually looks now like my tyres are equal or better than that Viper. So yeah, the Viper not very good on tyre wear, so probably not the best car for this race. It seems to be struggling with the tyres, and Antonio's better on tyres than me anyway, so it's crazy that that car has killed them more than the GTR, even though he had 1 lap fresher. But he's still putting us under pressure into the braking zone for turn 1. Try and get a good exit from this corner, clip the apex on the throttle. Really good exit that time. That's going to should give me enough space to get this next corner done without being under too much pressure. However, looking at the Viper in the mirror, it is gaining incredibly quickly, so we might have to go a little bit defensive into the middle of the track there, and you can see there into the next braking zone. We should just be able to hold this now trying to get a good solid exit. And again, you can see that Viper seems to be struggling for traction, so the GTR definitely much better on tyre wear. GTR is probably the strongest car for tyre wear on them rear tyres for this race. And the problem with this race is there's no brake bias available, so MR cars are pretty much dead with this tyre wear, which is a shame because some of the MR cars would have been usable here, but PD not giving us a brake bias, which is, I don't understand it, to be honest. It instantly knocks half a point off, I think, for the out of 10 rating, because you need brake bias on with high tyre wear. To make more cars competitive, you need to bring brake bias into these races so that people can use MR cars, because you try running this race with a Lamborghini and the soft tyres will be dead within 6 or 7 laps, which is just, you're not going to be able to compete. But you can see here, again, having to go defensive on these final few corners. Brilliant battling with Antonio. Great little race we're having here. And into the final corner, we managed to hold on and take a really well-earned win. What a race that was. Exciting stuff. Good racing. Good combo. But definitely could be better in my view with a few changes. Obviously, brake bias could definitely improve it. And obviously, I think a bit more variety with some of these track combinations could be a bit better as well. But yeah, we're going to give that a 7.5 because even though it's overused, I still love the track. I still love the combination. And yeah, it could have been a little bit better overall though. So we're going to give them races a 7 out of 10 overall for all three combined. Let me know what you think about them and what you would rate them all individually and as a whole. But yeah, I think PD needs to start being a bit more adventurous. Start using some of the combinations that we haven't had yet on this game. There's a lot of combinations and possibilities. So PD, if you are listening, please start using some of the other tracks that you have available in this game, because we have some good tracks there that you're not using. But yeah, let me know what you think about this week's races. I'll see you all for more videos and more live content and more YouTube shorts. Thanks again for watching, everyone.